Hey everybody, Ober Sports here. Today we've got another special episode. Today we'll be talking about the Green Bay Packers and making some predictions on their upcoming season, game by game. Now, I'm completely winging this. I don't have any script at all. I'm just going to go game by game. I've got the schedule right in front of me, so let's just dive right into it here. So week one, we've got Packers and Seahawks. This is going to be a really interesting game. It's going to be a game that the Packers it's really important for the Packers and for the Seahawks because it could potentially decide home field advantage in the playoffs. And as you know, back in 2014, the Packers lost to the Seattle Seahawks 36-16 in the first week of the NFL, and that ultimately decided who ended up getting the home field advantage that year. And we all know what happened that season. We lost to the Seahawks in the NFC Championship in a game that we could have definitely won. I'm not going to talk any more about it, but I honestly think the Packers will win this game. I do. It's at home. It's in front of a Lambeau crowd, and we got the best quarterback in the game. So I think the Packers will win this. It's going to be tough, but it's a very winnable game for Green Bay. Now week two at Atlanta. This is I just I don't see the Packers going into Atlanta and winning, regardless of how Atlanta does this year. The Falcons place is such a tough place to win, and they've got that new stadium opening up. I think we might actually be the first game that they have there. And if you remember last season, we played the Vikings in their home opener for their new stadium, and we lost that game. So I'm not really feeling too confident about this one. I think the Packers lose this one. It's on Sunday night, so that's 1-1 for Green Bay. Now, week three, we've got the Bengals. Bengals are a team it's a pretty average team. You know, they are always in the hunt for the wild card. They're never a division winner. They're never a home field advantage team. This is another winnable game for Green Bay. It's at Lambeau Field, and I think they'll win 2-1. Green Bay or Chicago at Green Bay. Sorry, Green Bay. I think they'll pull that off. It's Chicago. It's on Thursday night. But this is a game that the Packers will win. It's the Bears. So let's move on to week five here. We've got the Packers and the Cowboys. Packers at Dallas. This is another one of those games where I'm feeling a little bit iffy. I'm thinking, well, I don't know. It's in Dallas. We did beat Dallas in the playoffs last year, but the Cowboys are probably going to be wanting revenge, and this is a game that might sneak up on the Packers. You never know. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Packers lose this one. So that puts them at 3-2 right there. Now the Packers at the Vikings for week six. This is another tough game, but the Vikings, as you know, they beat us last time in their first game at their new stadium, but I think it'll be different this time around. I think Green Bay will win this game. They'll be coming off that loss against the Cowboys, so they'll probably be fired up and they'll probably want to win. So that's a win for Green Bay, 4-2. Now here we got the Saints next week at Green Bay. Drew Brees, keep him in the game probably. He'll probably shred our secondary, but it's at Lambeau Field, and we do have the better quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, so that's another win. That's 5-2. Lions at Packers. Lions, they beat us one year at Lambeau, but they have a tough time beating us in Lambeau Field, and historically they have had a tough time doing that. So the Packers are the better team here. I'm going to go with Green Bay. That puts them at 6-2. Now the Packers at the Bears. This game is very interesting to me because although I believe the Bears will be nothing more than a 5 or 6 win team, remember last year the Bears almost beat us in that Week 14 game, and it was very scary to see them come back and almost beat us. And I believe the Bears always do play us well when it's at Soldier Field. It's historically we seem to never blow them out there. We did in 2014, I think, but I mean, it's always a close game. I think it'll be a close game. I think the Packers will win, but it's a game to watch out for. So that puts us at 7-2 with a Packer win there. Ravens at Packers. It's another one that I'm like. It's an average team, but I feel like this could be a game that the Packers that creeps up on the Packers here. Usually the Packers have one game all year where they kind of play bad against a subpar team and they might lose. I don't think this is that game, but it could be. I'm going to mark it down as a win and put the Packers at 8-2 right now, but I would watch out for this game. It's a trap game. It's right before a big game against the Steelers in Pittsburgh, so watch out for that game. Now we'll move on to Pittsburgh and Green Bay. Green Bay at Pittsburgh. The Packers haven't played Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh since the 2009 season, I believe. So that'll be interesting to watch. It'll probably be a shootout. It'll probably be like a 45-41 game or something like that. But Packers against that high-powered Steelers offense, even with Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if we can keep up with that. It was the defense we have. Hopefully I'm wrong, but the Packers I think are going to lose that one. So that puts us at 8-3. Now the Buccaneers at the Packers. Now I think this is the rough portion of the Packers schedule. I believe the Packers will lose this game against the Buccaneers, even though it's at Lambeau Field. I believe this is a trap game. I believe it's a game that the Packers are going to overlook after losing to the Steelers. And I think the Green Bay Packers are going to lose this one, so that's going to put them at 8-4. Now the next week, we play the Cleveland Browns. The Browns not going to be very good this year. It's in Cleveland, but this should be a bounce back game for Green Bay. I think they'll win this one. So 9-4 is the record now. So now we'll go to Carolina. Carolina will be a very tough game. As much as you might think that the Panthers were a one-hit wonder when they went 15-1 a couple years ago, this is still a very concerning game for me, and I could see the Packers losing, but I don't think they will. I think they'll take this one and they'll go to 10-4. Now Vikings at Packers, Sunday Night Football on December 23rd, right before Christmas Eve. Vikings and Packers played this game last season on Christmas Eve, and I think the Packers will win this one too. It's at home against the Vikings. We don't usually lose at home against the Vikings, and I believe at this point the Vikings will be fighting for a wild card spot, so it might be a little bit shippy of a game, but I think the Packers will take that one. Now, last week, Packers at Lions. I know that Green Bay has always had these games in the last game of the season where their division is on the line. I don't think the division will be on the line in this game. We will be 11-4, and I believe we'll have the division wrapped up. I think the Lions will be 9-5. I think the division, or not 9-5. I mean 9-6. I do believe we'll have the division wrapped up. We might be fighting for some playoff seeding, but it's in Detroit, and I feel like the Packers might lose this one for the first time in a while. I think the Packers might actually lose a game in the last regular season game. So that's going to put Green Bay at 11-5 for the year. And those are my predictions. I think that the Packers in the playoffs, I don't know if they'll make the Super Bowl or not. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how the rest of the league plays out. I mean, the NFC could be really tough this year, or it could be really weak. It's just too early to tell. But I'd like to think that the Packers could make it to the Super Bowl, at least make it to the Super Bowl. If not, they'll probably end up making it to the NFC Championship game. But if the Packers don't win the Super Bowl this year, it'll still be a huge disappointment, even if I don't expect them to win it or make it there, which I guess I do, yeah. But it'll be a huge disappointment. We might have to be thinking about front office changes if we don't win the Super Bowl this year, because, I mean, we've got one of the best quarterbacks of all time in Aaron Rodgers, and we can't just keep wasting away his best years, which are right now. He could very well be the NFL MVP this year, so this is a season that the Packers just can't let slip away from them. They have to get back to the big game this year, or else I foresee some big changes in the front office. And that might start with Ted Thompson. So, anyways, that's all I have to say in this video. Leave a like and subscribe, and comment below what you guys think of my predictions, and if you have any other thoughts. And also, if you have any other video ideas for me to do, whether it be highlight or talk, leave those in the comments as well. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.